and welcome to Co-ople Mode, a couple's opinion on gaming. I'm Matt.
I'm Rose.
And welcome back from the wondrous oceans and sea breezes and krakens of Sea of Thieves.
Sharks, skeletons.
Lots of sharks. Just shoot them. Just shoot the sharks. It's okay. I won't tell nobody. You can have shark fin soup, whatever you want.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, are you ready for something different, something new? Maybe a little bit of both?
Maybe. Depends on what it is.
You look suspicious.
I'm
Why are you
scared.
so suspicious of me?
Because I liked Sea of Thieves, so now I'm like, he set me up for a bad one.
Lawn mowing simulator.
I might die.
Which I'm not going to crap on people because
No.
some people really like it. I get the enjoyment. It's the same reason Power Wash Simulator, people love that. There's something satisfying about it. I'm not judging. Trust me. No. We're going to be doing something a little different. You are going to be playing Monster Hunter Stories 2
What?
Wings of Ruin.
What is that?
So imagine if you took Monster Hunter and you took Pokemon and you slap them together and you get
Do I
Monster
get
Hunter
monsters?
Stories.
Do I get to have monsters?
You get to have monster friends.
Really?
You get to collect monsters.
Like some of the monsters from the game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I can have like a little mini Gyrototus or something?
Yeah. Yep. I'm pretty sure Gyrototus is in this game.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why do I not know about this game?
Now, you've seen me play it a little bit. You've seen our son play it a little bit too.
Okay.
Like you can get a Nargacuga and have him and ride him around. Really cool. So we'll get into some basic information and I'll talk a little bit more about it. So it was a Monster Hunter RPG, essentially, developed and published by Capcom, but it was also developed by a company called Marvelous. Now, this is one of those times where I kind of like, who is this? I got to dip into this.
It's not a name you hear a lot.
Yeah, and that's because Marvelous is a Japanese company that develops and publishes games, but also produces anime. But a lot of the stuff they do always ends up staying in Japan. They have a subsidiary on the western side of the world called Xseed, and people might recognize that. So a lot of times when their games go from a Japanese release to a western release, Xseed is the one who publishes
under that name.
Yeah, so people who heard that and play a lot of games might recognize that name from Harvest Moon, Rune Factory games, the No More Heroes. They also made a cool Monster Hunter style type game called Soul Sacrifice for the PlayStation Vita, which was up to 4 people going on quest. You fight some kind of monster demon things and then you get parts and upgrade. Like I always call that a Monster Hunter like game. Do you go on quest, you fight a big scary thing, and then do you get
take their parts.
Yeah, exactly. An interesting thing though about Marvelous is they made these Pokemon arcade games over in Japan. Japan arcade games are still really popular over there. They have local arcades you can go in and play stuff, and apparently it's like these interesting little like 3-on-3 card battler type things. Like it actually sounds really interesting, and it's like, why don't we get any of that cool stuff? It makes me sad that the arcade scene kind of died in America, because like I remember growing up, like there was like cool ones where you'd get a sword and you have to like cut the enemies on screen, or a boxing one where you got to hold boxing gloves and you had to like dip and dive out of the way. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. Like you went to the arcade for that experience that you can't get at home with just a controller. Mm-hmm. And like that kind of just like, it's so hard to find that stuff anymore. You go to an arcade now, it's all like coin eaters for tickets and stuff like that. And like, I get that part, but that was never the most enjoyable part of an arcade for me. I don't like spending $100 to get, $20 worth of prizes. You know what I mean? That's my thing.
Tell us how you really feel.
But I thought it was really interesting because they ended up producing some anime that I recognized too. I think Tokyo Ghouls was the first one I recognized. That one's kind of a dark people eaty kind of anime. Ghouls, right?
Yeah.
So Monster Hunter Stories 2 and I'm just going to shorten to that. I'm not going to keep saying Wings of Ruin, was released in July 2021 for Nintendo Switch and PC. The Metacritic score is sitting at 81 to 82, depending on the version you're playing, which is a small rise from 79 for the first Monster Hunter Stories game that came out on the 3DS. It was 3DS and eventually came out on Android and iOS, Apple and stuff. So now this game has sold 1.8 million copies as of September 2023. And I gotta shout out to Capcom. You can find out these numbers on all their games, on their game franchises. Like, it's really easy to find the numbers of the sales they've had, the games, up to like usually the most recent September. That's usually when they release the information. But it's like, it's so nice because like I look up games sometimes and I'm like, okay, how many copies did this sell? Nothing.
Nobody
Darkness.
knows.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Like, I get no information. What am I going to tell people on my podcast? So Capcom, thank you for just being open. I appreciate that. Which is exciting because like World is still like way up there for how much they have sold. Monster Hunter Rise, I think, is at 13 million copies, and World is at 19 million. So like Rise has made a pretty big jump since I think it came out on Xbox and PlayStation and all that stuff. Good. I know, Rise is really so good. So the interesting thing is the series executive producer said that the idea for this having a Monster Hunter role-playing video game was kind of a response to everyone being really interested in the world's setting and like even the livelihood of the monsters. Yeah. And so they actually had been thinking about this game since 2010. Like, this is before the first one even came out. So like, this is 2010 is how long ago they were thinking about starting these Monster Hunter RPGs. And it was also the reason they switched. In this game, you don't play as a hunter, you play as a rider. They call them Monsties in the game. You find eggs, you hatch them, and you get a new monster friend that you can ride around, and it's so much fun and it's so cool. So it really kind of shifts the view. Like, these guys live a little more in tune with the monsters, but you still have to stop these guys rampaging around. Like, it still happens, and you still get monster parts when you fight them over and over again and make armor and weapons and stuff. So it's still like, it's like this interesting like little mishmash you get, There are over 141 different Monsties you can get in here. Now, some of that's like subspecies. So you get like Rathian, pink Rathian, and I think it's gold or silver Rathian. Gold Rathian. That's the like stage. But I saw you got Nargacugas, you got Anjanath. They added Velkhana, which is from Iceborne. They have, I think, Brachydios. Like, all these like really big ones that you remember. Even the Lagiacrus, which you don't know, was a flagship monster in Monster Hunter Ultimate 3. When you used to have to fight underwater sometimes, which on land, great. It wasn't too bad a fight. Underwater, it was a fun way to mix it up. There's a reason you don't have underwater fighting in Monster Hunter anymore. It wasn't looked super fondly upon. The only kind of a bummer thing, and this will be a bummer for you, is there's only 6 weapons.
Oh, no.
Yes.
What ones?
I believe they have the Great Sword, Sword and Shield. They have a hammer and hunting horn, and then a bow gun and a bow.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't use any of those.
I know. I was like, I got to look this up. And I'm like, oh, man, not even like dual blades? Rose is going to be so sad.
No switch axe, no dual blades, no glaive.
Yep.
I have to learn something new.
But it's okay because it's not... How do I put this? It's more about learning what is effective against monsters. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these statistics, like, that you don't think about in our actual Monster Hunter game actually do take effect. You have slashing damage, bashing damage and piercing damage in the real Monster Hunter games. So some monsters...
when you use the insect glaive, the kinsect that you buy is going to be blunt or piercing.
Yep.
It does make a difference on the monster that you fight.
Depending on, some monsters are more susceptible to certain kinds of damage, right? Depending on their body parts.
You don't want to use a certain kind of kinsect on a certain kind of monster.
So there is that in this game. But luckily, like in the middle of a fight, you can switch to a weapon that is more advantageous for you if you need to. You can switch out your Monstie that's with you to one that's more advantageous for you. They keep it pretty simple. I'm trying to decide how deep I should dig into this and how much I should save for the second half, you know? I just want to say that knowledge from the actual Monster Hunter franchise will assist you in playing this one.
I would think so.
It really does. Like, if you think about, okay, this is the Anjanath. What kind of attack is he going to do? You're like, okay, this is what he's going to do. And then you use that. I use that knowledge all the time. And it really comes in handy. It's really cool. It's just kind of fun to see all these monsters in a different format, but it still feels exactly like them. Oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the fun things that you do is you get to ride all your different monsters. Mm-hmm. And so not just in battles, when you're exploring the map, different monsters have different abilities. Like some can climb up walls. Some can like jump over like gaps. Mm-hmm. I think eventually you get ones that can fly, right? So it's cool to collect different monsters because then you can interact with the world. Maybe that chest you saw up on a cliff that you wanted to get, you can't get until you found this monster in the next area or something like that. So it gives you some excuse to come back with your monsters and check things out other than just grinding for like whatever armor upgrades you need and stuff like that. The hard part about this is I couldn't find a lot of information about the development and stuff to talk about here. And I think I'm just going to have a short front half so we can just talk more in the second half.
Yeah, because my imagination's going a little wild, wondering how this exactly works.
Yeah.
Because Monster Hunter, there's so much to so many different parts. Like your weapon upgrades, your armor, and your armor upgrades, and then so there's a lot being added to this game, and I want to know like how it's balanced out and how intensive certain areas are. Mm-hmm. You know,
I think the only thing that, here's the thing, regular Monster Hunter does it too. It's a bit of a slow start. Like it doesn't overwhelm you with everything at once. It kind of introduces one new piece every little bit, right? And that's how regular Monster Hunter kind of does it too. I think it's just, as a person who's played these type of games so much, it's like, okay, just let me at it. Like, getting crazy here. Like, let me out of the cage. Let me out of the tutorial cage right now. Okay, some trauma popped up there. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, but honestly, you've gone through a couple Monster Hunters at this point.
I know to expect that.
Yeah.
Suffer through it.
Yeah. And I think this I know I'm always like, I'm feeling out RPGs. Let's see which one I can get you into. And I'm like, well, how about basically Monster Hunter Pokemon? Let's try that.
It does sound like this has the potential to rival my love for Pokemon, which is exciting to me.
It's funny that I didn't think about it sooner because like I was just trying to think of what game to have you play next when we were doing Sea of Thieves. And all of a sudden this just popped into my brain and it's like, why haven't you done this one yet? And it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Why didn't I do this one yet?
Thank you, Brain.
Thank you for doing it now, Brain, but where were you like months ago?
It's all right. Everything has led up to this point.
Yeah, everything's led up to this point. So I'll stop jabbering on. We're just going to jump into the second half. We're going to get you playing this game, and we'll see you guys in a little bit, all right?
Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye. Hello and welcome back from all the Monstie dens where you were an egg thief.
Me and my special kitty cat.
Yeah.
Telling me every egg I pick sucks all the time.
Yeah, that's like the whole beginning of the game.
Yeah, that one's really light and it doesn't smell very good.
It smells like nothing. You're getting an egg full of air. All right.
Guess what? You get the 5th Monstie that you've already owned. I can't even remember the name. What's the
Apatonoth?
Yeah.
Yeah, the big
Have another Apatonoth,
yeah,
please.
Yep. No. Yeah, that's the beginning. That's why I was like, okay, did I see something new? Nope, I am not going in that Monstie den. I don't care how golden it is.
The first time that I got to pick an egg, I got really confused because it showed in the nest 3 completely different colored and patterned eggs. And every time I went to pick up an egg, it would just keep pulling the same one.
Yeah.
And I was like, am I not grabbing the right one? But no, that's just how the game works.
Yeah.
And everyone I grabbed all looked the same. And my cat was like, it just keeps getting worse. Why do you keep picking up eggs?
Yeah, at least the first one smelled a little bit.
Yeah.
Why didn't you take that one?
Like, you really suck at this. And then it's like, well, we got to go. It's a time limit thing.
Mama's going to show up soon. We better get out of here.
To me, I'm like, let her show up. I'll show her what's what.
I'm going to go kick some Monstie ass.
This ain't my first Monster Hunter rodeo.
Right?
But I suppose maybe I'll start at the beginning because I got thoughts about the beginning.
Yep.
So you start off with character creation, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It reminds me so much of the character creation in the Pokemon games, which reminded me of my point that you can have character creations that will not let people create monstrosities. Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. Cough, Sea of Thieves.
You know what I mean?
Listen to the last episode.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you get to create your character in quotations, but it's very, very pre-programmed, minimal stuff that you get to choose, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty light.
Yeah, you spend a couple minutes doing that and you're ready to go. But yeah, it really kind of defeats the point in Sea of Thieves not letting you just create a character. A pirate lady that's not 90 years old and looks like she's half dead would be cool.
Someone who looks like they haven't smoked and drank the last 90 years of their life away.
I mean, if I was a pirate, I would be doing the same thing and also probably look like that. I'm 35, like... So I guess it's accurate.
All right. So I honestly don't remember the character creation on this one. I didn't spend a lot of time on it.
It's like almost exactly like a Pokemon character creation. Yeah,
pretty simple. I know even regular Monster Hunter gives you a little more choice when it comes to like hairstyle and face stuff.
Regular Monster Hunter, like, it's not nearly as intensive as like Baldur's Gate or anything, but it's a good regular Monster Hunter is the perfect amount.
I feel like
you can color everything, your hair, your makeup, your tattoos, all of that. I mean, your character in Monster Hunter always looks super cool. And I feel like every time I see it, I'm like, if Matt lived in this world, that's what he would look like.
Yeah. I have a certain design style I go for every time.
Usually some green hair, and it looks pretty badass.
Yeah. Look like I got in a couple fights.
Yep. But it's realistic. It's good.
Yep.
So that kind of brings me into like the art style of the game, because I didn't really know what to expect because I kind of vaguely remembered this game when you brought it up.
Yep.
But the art style is so different from regular Monster Hunter, but it reminds me a lot of Pokemon games. And then there's like these elements too of Zelda in there. Like, did you pick up on that?
Well, like which Zelda?
Okay. The newer ones, like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild.
Okay, yeah, I can kind of see
the village chief looks like he popped out of a Zelda game. He's like a mixture between a Goron and like a Hyrulean. The way he's dressed, the colors, it really surprised me. I was like, are you thieving over there, Monster Hunter?
I mean, I guess technically...
Do they work together?
It's kind of a little...
Who made this?
It is kind of a little anime cel-shaded-y. But I really like your Pokemon comparison because
it reminds me of the newer Pokemon
games. Like was it
Sword and Shield?
Yes, thank you.
Gosh,
but yeah, like your character is kind of short because you're like this teenager essentially,
and Violet and Ruby or whatever.
Yeah, same thing. But yeah, like it's almost a slight caricature of people a little bit when you're looking at them.
It's so like cutified compared to normal Monster Hunter, and it's nice because it kind of does separate this game from those in that way, but then at the same time it does a really nice job of bringing in so many of the Monster Hunter elements that you know and love in the costumes, the designs, the monsters. Like the monsters are recognizable. You know what they are.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I know that. I know this. Like, and even having the little palico and stuff, it was a nice blend, but with a twist, and it was kind of fun to see. And I kind of felt like that about this whole game. Honestly, it was
interesting to see the elements they brought in with Monster Hunter.
Yeah, but it's really cool how it's almost like somebody sat down and was just reimagining a different side of the earth. If Monster Hunter was real, like over there on the other side of the world, they live like this. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Kind of everything about this game is like that because you get like cutscenes right away. Oh my God. Cutscenes in the beginning.
Yeah, slow beginning.
Yep. Slow beginning is a good enough description. Like, I tried because you yell at me all the time about being patient and you should watch this. You're not getting everything out of it. And I really tried to power through, but it was so much like cinematography, so much story just being dumped and shoved down my throat.
Info dump, yeah.
And it took so long that I finally did give up, and I was like, I can't anymore. Like, I just don't, I'm not intaking any of this. I don't care. I have no reason to care. I just want to
get to the fun part.
Because to me, like at that point, it's literally when you start up. Like you make your character, you select okay, and then it's just like, it's probably over 10 minutes. It feels so long.
I guess I can't say I remember.
And it's like, hey, everybody, I don't know if I'm invested yet. You haven't let me do anything. I don't even know if I care or want to know about this. And that's where I'm coming from with video games, which is very different than you. Mm-hmm. I will care if I actually like this game. And there's like maybe a 70% chance I won't.
You know, I actually had a moment. I was playing a new game new to me. I was playing Remnant 2. I really kind of enjoyed playing the first one with my brothers and stuff. So the second one came out on Game Pass. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try that out. And the beginning cutscene was so long, and it's like, I can't pause the cutscene.
Ooh, it felt long even for you.
Well, if I knew I completely had the time, it's fine. But what I really appreciate is I want to be able to pause it if I need to go do something. And if I can't, I don't want to just skip it, because sometimes if you skip it, that's when you miss that like important, the MacGuffin, right, of the game, the thing that you're supposed to go for, right? And it's like, I don't want to miss that because I want to understand some motivation, but then it just kind of drags on, and it's like, oh,
I know for a fact I missed some of the motivation in this, because there's something about like the monster hunters that hunt monsters versus your village and how you're riders, which does not make sense to me. And I don't know if I missed it in the scenes that I skipped, because you still ride monsters, and you love them, but then you go out and kick other monsters' ass with your monster. So I don't understand why they're all so high and mighty against other monster hunters.
Yeah, in Pokemon, they love their Pokemon, and then they throw out their Pikachu to freaking electrify the Magikarp, and they don't give two shits. Give me 20 $. What are you talking about? It's a video game, right?
Give me 20 $, for kicking your fish's ass.
Yeah, for kicking your ass. Oh, you got some Caterpies, bug catcher boy? Well, guess what? I want you to meet my Charizard. I'm sorry I missed you the first time I came through the area. But yeah, I see the mix. This is the thing about even Monster Hunter in general. Like, a lot of the times the reasons you're hunting these monsters is because
they're troublemakers.
They're being troublemakers, right? And the main difference between hunters and riders is riders want to work with monsties to stop troublemaking monsters from causing problems. But like,
I'm going to use your cousin to kick your ass.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, look, this was your baby boy. You remember? He's my baby boy now. Get him.
So
but it's kind of cute to see because your monsties are smaller, you know, because you can ride them. So it's kind of cool to see these like little ones, you know, you got the little ones hanging out with you. It's kind of fun.
Another point. I just got to bring it up.
Okay.
Why did they call them Monsties?
I don't like that either.
I hate it. I hate saying it.
Yep.
I hate hearing it. I hate reading it. I fucking hate Monsties. Why did they name them that? I'm glad to hear you hate it too, because you keep saying it like it doesn't bother you, and it just makes me cringe.
I'm trying to use cringe, right? I'm using the terminology from the game because they wanted to make a clear definition between the Monsties, who are your friends, and the monsters, who are the ones out there causing a ruckus that you got to whoop their ass. Like, there's a difference, but Isn't really...
it funny how bad that terminology is? It feels icky.
I should look it up, and I got to wonder if... Maybe it sounds better in Japanese. Because in English, it just feels like... Okay, game, you're talking down to me now. That's what it feels like, right?
I'm not 4.
Yeah.
I know it does. It makes you feel like you're playing a little kid game.
That of this game and my
valid
experience with
criticism
them,
or what?
That is a valid criticism. That's one of the things that has always annoyed me.
It
even in the first one,
wrong.
It just is like, okay, I just got myself a Nargacuga, and then you went and called him a Monstie. Goodbye.
I don't even want him anymore. So once you skip through the tutorial.
I love that choice of words.
Or the beginning cutscenes.
Yeah, when you get through them.
It's a typical Monster Hunter game where you're going to get a ton of tutorial boxes popping up that you got to smash through. And like, again, like this time around, every time now that you throw a Monster Hunter game at me, I'm prepared for this. I handle it so much better now than what I used to, for sure. But Monster Hunter has this really bad habit of using words, phrases, and vocabularies in these tutorial boxes. When you start up a brand new game and you're a brand new player, you are going to have no idea what in the hell they're talking about. And because there are different elements to this game than just regular Monster Hunter. There's a lot of similar ones, and that helped me really know.
It really eases the transition.
It really helped me know what the hell I was doing right away. But again, I can't help but think, like, if this was a fresh person that's never played Monster Hunter, thought, oh, this game looks cute, right? Mm-hmm. They're screwed. Like, you have to want to play it so bad to power through this stuff. Yeah. And it's so disappointing. Or have somebody there that knows what you're supposed to do to help you get through it in the beginning. I really think they need to adjust that. I really wish we need to send letters. Like, please, just...
Capcom, learn how to do a better tutorial.
Stop.
Yeah.
I would rather you say less and, like, throw it out slowly. But I guess the nice thing about this one was it seemed like it hit you with a lot really fast. You kind of slammed through it, and then it eased up really quickly.
Yeah, it's not as bad as Rise was. Rise was terrible with boxes.
I know, but I really love Monster Hunter Rise.
No, like, I'm not.
That's a valid criticism. It is, but I don't even like bringing it up because I'm like, oh, but that game's so good. Like, it does. That game luckily is good enough that it helps balance out that bad thing that is a pet peeve of mine. This one, I don't know if the game's good enough to balance that out quite so much, but I will say that it's not as severe as Monster Hunter Rise. So it's, you get through it, and then you have an older, more experienced rider that's going to help you get your first egg, learn how to battle with your monster.
Yep.
Not saying it
with your buddy.
With your scaly friend.
Yeah.
That part, like you had warned me, like it kind of holds your hand for a while, and it does, but it seems like it does ease up pretty quickly there too.
Yeah, not forever. It's just little.
It's pretty short-lived, and it's like you do one mission with her, and then I think you got like one more where you kind of half-ass work with her and not just get told what to do all the time with no limits. So it feels really good that way. This game actually felt like you got to put a little bit of time in, but then you're just free. And that's really nice.
Yeah. Yep.
And pretty quickly you get to the point where like a lot opens up for you. Weapons and gear, all the stuff you can make. And that's fun. I mean, it helps bring in like what you love about Monster Hunter into this. It's just not as expanded. It's not as...
It's a condensed version, essentially.
Thank you.
Yep.
But it's still nice to see, right? As a Monster Hunter lover, you're like, ooh, look at this new gear. Look at this weapons, you know? And it seems like in this one, you want to carry like one of every kind of weapon.
Yep. So I would carry, there's 6 weapons, but it's essentially you have slashing damage weapons, and 2 of them, blunt damage weapons, and then piercing damage weapons. And regular Monster Hunters like that too. But for this one, I would just carry one of each, because that way I would have the damage type for... Because, certain monster parts are more susceptible to blunt. Like, you could fight one big monster, and you got to fight, like, hit different parts of them sometimes, just like in the real game, and you... It's like, okay, well, the head's weak to blunt damage, and then if you hit him hard enough, he falls over, another part opens up, and that's weak to piercing damage. And then you kind of like switch my weapon, switch it up, you know? So I kind of like that it gives your character as the writer a little more viability in a fight, because it's like, okay, I gotta just switch to what I need for this moment. Like, you can switch out your buddy, your monster.
I kind of disagree in that, though.
You do?
Well, there's a lot in Monster Hunter that helps you even if you're not perfectly equipped.
Yeah.
It's pretty... I would say if you know how to play Monster Hunter, if you actually know what you're doing, it's pretty rare that you're going to go up against a monster that you are, like, so unequipped for that you cannot... complete your mission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
you have so many tricks up your sleeves inherently. You got bombs. Like, even if your weapon isn't doing, like, you go up against the pickle that is the lava pickle. What's his name?
Oh no, not you're not the Devil Joe. You're thinking of the Lavios.
Lavios.
Yeah.
And oh no, I am dumb and I forgot to change out my weapon and it does fire elemental damage. I'm still gonna kick that thing's ass. You know what I mean?
I think regular Monster Hunter is a little more forgiving on that.
You have so many other options. That's my point. It's not that it's more forgiving. It's that you also have your Palico that's helping you. You have your bomb barrels and things like that. You have different things that you can use to help. Even in Monster Hunter Rise, you can go around and pick up the different... helpers, and hit them with different status effects and things like that, or even just putting them in a pitfall trap, even if it's for a couple seconds, and then you whack the shit out of that guy. You know, or like you've been doing lately, you've been just shocking people with your bow gun, haven't you?
Oh yeah, the bow gun I was using in World has a lot of status effects ammo in it.
Yeah, so you shoot them, they get paralyzed, and I'm whacking the living hell out of them.
And then I put them to sleep, and then we bomb them, and then
there's so many things you can do, and even in Monster Hunter World, there's like traps around the environments, and you can use those to your advantage if you know how to do it. There's so much more in that game. It's not really fair to compare it to this one because it's so much more simplified.
Well, yeah, it's a completely different style of game.
Well, I'm just saying, like, being able to switch weapons to be more viable, I don't think it's like, oh, thanks for the help. I think it's like you had to do this just to make it work. You know what I mean?
Okay. I think this is speaking from my experience playing the first one, because I do have the first one for 3DS as well. And it's also fun. I think the second one is better because in that one it's like you pick your weapon, that's what you're stuck with. They didn't have as much of that interchangeability, that much of like you got to pay attention to damage types as much. They were mostly focused on the main mechanic of the battle, which is like the rock paper scissors style speed power technique.
Technical,
yep. So that was the main focus on the first one, and I think they took that and added a little bit more. And does it make it a little? Can it make it a little more complicated if you're not paying attention? Yeah, but I think makes you think a little bit more in battle, and I appreciate that. I don't want to just be like, okay, it's an Anjanath. He's going to do power attacks, so I'm going to do, I think, a technical against them. You know, like, it helps that I recognize the Monster Hunter monsters, so I know what kind of attacks they're going to do.
Some complexity in it so that you feel better, like you achieved something more.
Yep.
I get that. That makes sense.
I do appreciate...
They could just be like Pokemon and just demand you to learn the styles and weaknesses and types.
The 15 types now. and dual types and all that.
Yeah.
It gets a little... I used to have a chart.
This Monster Hunter game is being really graceful.
Yeah,
I mean, for our generation, we're used to just being like, well, guess you died. You suck. You should learn some things.
Get good, scrub.
But yeah, that's a good point. I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah, I think it just adds that little bit extra to think about and to like remember, because it's funny, a lot of that stuff, all the like piercing damage is more effective against this part. Like that's pulled directly out of real Monster Hunter, Rise and World.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff, if you can remember some of that stuff, it's wild how much of that info that I've built up over how many flipping years I've been playing Monster Hunter. And it just like, yeah, I know what you're going to do.
There's probably a whole piece of your brain just dedicated to Monster Hunter knowledge.
Yeah, you know that 10% that they say they don't use? That's all Monster Hunter.
The battle system in this game, when it got explained to me, I was like, I don't know about this. But then, like, pretty quickly, I was pretty okay with it. I was like, oh, all right, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know? A lot of the time, RPGs like this can be really, really boring. And the battling can feel really grindy, like a lot of work. What was that one you just made me do? With the time traveling.
Oh, Chrono Trigger.
Sorry, yeah, that's how much I liked it. Like Chrono Trigger is very boring and it feels like a lot of work to battle. I'm sorry. I'm just saying how I feel.
My heart. It's okay.
Compared to this one, isn't the battle system like so well, okay, I'm not going to ask you because you're just not going to agree with me. But to me, it feels a lot more boring than this system. Like there's some action, there's some movement. They actually have some nice like scenes during the battle too. They do it better than like Pokemon does. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do agree with you. I think every fight feels more interesting, especially when you're fighting the large monsters. Because like when you play a regular RPG, there's so much. What's the way to put it? The mobs, the scrub mobs, the stupid little goblins that you got to fight 500 of them before you get to a boss battle. In this game, there are small monsters you do fight, but those battles usually go relatively quickly, and then you always end up seeing like a large monster on the horizon, and you go fight that, and it actually feels like a satisfying bite of combat, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like there are bosses in this game that are tougher than normal, but you can fight just large monsters, and it feels satisfying to beat them. It feels satisfying when you guess what move they're going to use right and you counterattack it. You build up your little meter and you're like, oh, I'm going to team up with my buddy and we're going to just wreak havoc with our super attack.
Yeah.
Which is a very good feeling. And very funny some of them are. How many...
Don't ask me how many.
Okay. One of my favorites is...
An embarrassingly low number.
Did you get a Kutku?
No.
Okay. There's
I got a Kuluyaku.
Oh, yeah, the bird. Yeah, yep. So,
he can hold his rock while you're in battle.
Yeah, which is fun. Yeah. The young Kutku is kind of like, it was a small, it kind of looks like a big lizard chicken. He's got kind of a beak, but you know them, there's these little monsters you'll see, they roll up into balls kind of like armadillos. They look kind of like bugs and then they'll roll up into hard little balls. Well, he likes to eat those things.
Okay.
So what happens is he can also spit fire. What happens is you do your super move and he's like, oh, hey, the ball monsters. He eats a few and then you smack him on his head and he shoots them out as fireballs at the enemy and does a lot of damage. It's like they have little jokes like that sometimes in there. And it's just fun to see like, okay, what's the amazing attack this monster is going to do?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not necessarily like it's cool, but it's also kind of like fun. You know what I mean? Like
it's not so serious.
It's not. Yeah, it's not just taking itself so seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy Monster Hunter for the seriousness of it all. Like that really helps immerse me in it. This one is a more fun version, and I think that's kind of the perfect way to say it and describe it. It's a lot more lighthearted. It's a lot more easygoing. You're just running around a lot of the time, just kind of doing your thing. And I mean, if you see a monster over there, you can go run over and battle it. You see a little den, you can go get some eggs. Like it's a lot more chill than regular Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it is.
Regular Monster Hunter, you go out on a hunt and you're like, oh my God, I need 50 herbs and I got to kill 3 beasts. And like it's stressful sometimes.
Yeah, it can be a little.
But I love that. Like it amps me up. I love the adrenaline rush.
So do you think that maybe, how do I put this? Do you think that this Monster Hunter would be an easier way to introduce people to the franchise?
Absolutely not.
You don't think so?
It's too different.
Well, what about like a younger kid who can't quite play regular Monster Hunter yet?
I think they would have fun with this. The vibes are so different. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a younger kid playing this makes a lot of sense. And honestly, like there's so much about this game that's like, it feels like it's made for a younger audience. Not for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to
and I think if you had a younger kid play it eventually as they got older, they'd want to play regular Monster Hunter and they'd be ready to take it more seriously. They'd want to. They'd be more pumped about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as like an adult, if you took an adult person that had never played any Monster Hunter games and gave them this one and then was like, okay, here we go. Now we're going to go to this. I personally don't think the adult that loves this game would love regular Monster Hunter as much. I think the chances of that are a lot lower. You know what I mean? It's two very different styles.
That makes sense.
Don't you think?
I think I agree with you.
Like to me, the person that loves this game is also playing like Animal Crossing, you know.
Yeah, a little more of the relaxing simulation,
the cute stuff,
some farming sim type stuff.
Nothing's super serious here. That's kind of the vibe this game gives me. There's nothing really like...
Kind of like Pokemon does in a way, too.
Like Pokemon. That, sure. I mean, there's nothing that's an emergency. Ever.
Though they try to convince you it is.
Yeah, but you can tell that it's not when even I am like, nah.
Yeah, you usually feel like you get pushed around by the urgency in games.
But in this one, I was like, I don't believe you. It's fine if I go do this first.
Interesting. Well, is there anything else you found about the game interesting?
Well, I guess like I said, I liked the battle mechanic.
Yep.
You know, it's a little simplified. It probably gets a little bit more complicated as you get further on, but yeah, the music was nice. The scenery's pretty, you know, but it's like you said, it's that specific kind of art style where it's not too detailed, but it's detailed enough.
Do you like getting to ride the monsters?
I mean, that's fine. I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
It's nice because you move faster. I mean, that's good. It'd be better than trying to run and it would take forever to get anywhere.
But I also, me personally, I enjoyed that the different monsters usually have different abilities outside of battle as well.
Yeah.
It's fine. You're not going to find a lot of cool stuff, but like eventually you get flying ones, you get swimming ones, you know, all that. Like,
I mean, and again, I hate to keep comparing it to Pokemon, but it's kind of like that.
Well, I think that's what they were going for.
It's like Monster Hunter Pokemon. And I mean, it's cool and I do like it. It started to hook me.
Yep.
And the only thing that's bad about this game is when you're out on an expedition, you cannot save. And I was doing things and I was like, oh, I have to stop right now. I will just put the Switch in the console thing. It'll charge.
Sleep mode. Yeah.
I'll pick it up later and just keep going. And of course.
The dreaded.
Our son was like, I want to play the Switch right now. And I didn't realize. And he picked it up and quit my game and started a different game. Hadn't played the Switch in how long? But all of a sudden later that day, he's like, oh, I got to do this right now. Yep. I walk in and I'm like, oh, Lord.
Just like 3 seconds too late.
I just lost like an hour and a half of work, and like getting the gumption back up to go redo all that. Ooh, it was not there. No. And it things like that can really debilitate me in a game where I'm like, no, I'm not touching it.
That's not just you. I had the same thing happen to me once, and it was, I'm going to say it was half my fault, half my brother's fault. But like, I was playing Final Fantasy X. I was further than my brother, and this is back in the day. Like, I'm a teenager. We only got the one. No, I had my own memory card and he has his. So he was used to saving in the second memory card slot. Me in the first. I'm playing his game, helping him through a spot he was stuck on. Mm-hmm. And then I go to save, and I save right over my game. And I lost, like, that was completely gone. That was like 7 hours, 8 hours.
How was that your brother's fault?
Because, like, he's like, Matt, help me. And I'm like, just figure it out. And he's like, I'm stuck in this temple. I can't get out. I'm like, God, okay. I could go help him out. And I wasn't that rough, but I was like, I didn't want to do it again. And I did it. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Save point. And I'll save it for you, and it's going to be yours. And then I just went through the motions. Yeah, muscle memory. And then I saved over my thought, and I was like, and like I realized it was happened, and I didn't take it out on him or anything. I was just like, oh my, I was mad though. He knew I was upset.
It actually wasn't his fault at all.
Well, yeah, I'm not a freaking monster. No. Like, I picked on him. I knew it was an accident.
It's funny. It's half his fault.
It is half his fault.
It's really not.
Get in the comments. Tell me how much of my brother's fault it was. So yeah, I didn't touch the game again for a week. Yeah. And then I finally started a new game, and then I got further than I was, faster and actually stronger. And the funny part is, the moment I got to the save point I was at, mm-hmm. I realized that I had made an extra save an hour back down at like on the 99th save slot, just because I was like, I was about to go into a boss or something like that. So I could have only lost an hour or lost my whole game. And I didn't realize, I was like, whatever, I guess it worked out in the end. So like, I don't have any hard feelings about it, but I understand that feeling of like, you lose time on especially a game like this. It just hurts. It's hard to jump back in. It takes me
a long time to build up the courage to go back to it.
That is,
and I wasn't mad about it. I was just like, it figures. I mean,
just when it was getting good.
Yeah, when you're a parent for this long, you're like, you're just used to kids like accidentally ruining everything.
Yeah, it's hard to keep.
Totally not on purpose.
No. Never on purpose, but that is what happened.
And you're like, it just reminds you, like, it doesn't matter. This is not what life's about. It's fine. And just a single tear runs down and you're over it. You know what I mean? Yep. But it's like, I'm not going to play that for a few days. I need to walk away.
Yeah, can always come back if you feel like it later. Probably want to play that instead of Pokemon Scarlet anyways.
I don't know.
All right, well then
I think I started Pokemon Scarlet and then like put it down, and I never touched it again.
I don't even think I started it. So
I played one time and then I put it down and like have never gone back to it. I think I picked my Pokemon and then shut it off and was like, it was just, especially after playing Arceus, I was like,
I'd go back to Arceus, I think.
I know.
If I want my Pokemon fix, I'm going back to that.
Yeah, or even I would redo Sword and Shield again. I don't know. Mm-hmm. The newest Pokemon games really rub me the wrong way with how much they glitch out and how shitty they run. It was actually disappointing to me. I've never felt that way playing a Pokemon game.
I wonder how much of that's been fixed now. I guess I haven't.
Yeah, maybe it has. It's been a long time.
When I feel like playing Pokemon again, I'll look into it. Like I got so many other things that I'm interested in and trying to do right now that I'm going to wait till I feel like it, Okay. So what would you rate this? Or unless you have anything else important you wanted to add?
Not important.
Okay.
Like a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I really didn't hate it. I don't dislike it. I don't really love it either. It's like just above the middle ground of ambivalence for me, where I'm like, I'm interested, but I'm not that interested. I think there's something good here, and I think if I got further, there's a chance I'd get sucked in.
That was gonna be literally my next question because of what you talked about. If you felt like we didn't have that mishap where you lost that time and you got further in it, you feel like there's a potential, like it could be a better game. I think there's the potential.
I don't think I'm ever gonna like, oh, this is the best, I love this,
But you could have fun with it.
Yeah, here and there. Okay. It's probably not a game I would try to complete or finish, and I like it. I like the idea of it a lot. I like where they took this, and I think it was a fun thing to do.
Yep.
But you know what the main problem is? Like every time I pick it up and play it, I'm like, I just want to play real Monster Hunter. Like
that's me too.
You see like a cool weapon design, or you go out and see a monster, and then you got to battle him, and like, I get it's an RPG and you got to do this battle system, but I'm like, but I could just play Monster Hunter.
Yep.
And jump around on my insect glaive and like steal all your powders and be so fast and strong. And then feel so cool when I'm carving out your parts and upgrading my stuff. You know what I mean? Like I love the real thing so much.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing I suffer from with this game.
Brings this one down for me. Honestly.
Yeah, it just makes me want to play real Monster Hunter. And I like even in Rise, you get a taste of it, riding that monster and using their attacks. Like you get a lot of that good stuff that was in this game in Rise in the format I'm looking for the most. I do like this RPG. I think it has potential to be better than it is. Like I think they have a good base in this game.
Yeah.
After the last one and this one, I'm just not sure how exactly I hate saying that, like, oh, I don't know how you fix it and make it better. Like, I feel like that's sometimes a jip when you're like...
Or a cop-out, yeah.
Yeah, but I really feel like they have this good base game and there's a lot of good qualities to it. I'm just not sure exactly what you need to add to give it that extra bit. There's something there, and I feel it. I like it's in my bones. I feel that there's potential for greatness, and I hope that they give this series at least one more try to see like what could happen.
Because it's not bad at all. No. It's good, and I mean the game ran really well too.
Yep. Yeah,
thank you, Capcom.
Fine. Yeah,
Capcom games pretty much always run good, don't they?
Pretty good.
Yeah. I can't think of what it would be either.
Yep.
It's almost like you got to be like Game Freak and punch your player in the face and then tell them to apologize. Like then everybody would love it. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, it does. It has a solid base. It's got a really good core. And this one, like you were explaining what they've added, those were good additions to do, having the different weapon types and things like that. So yeah, maybe it's just the cutesiness of it.
Maybe. I know you can. I'm pretty sure there is a multiplayer, like you can play with other people.
What 30-year-old man is going to be like, oh, look at this cool Monstie I got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get rid of the term Monstie. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a chance you might come back and try it out. 6.5. Is that kind of how you feel? Out of 10?
Yeah, if I run it completely out of other things to do,
I
would play this one.
Oh, funny.
Let me get Northgard out of my system. All the other Monster Hunter games. Slime Rancher, should redo that one more time.
Yeah, I love Slime Rancher. Speaking of, well, okay, let me organize my thoughts. I know Slime Rancher just released their 0.30 update on their early access for Slime Rancher 2, added weather system to it. So
no.
Yeah.
My crops won't grow.
So as much as I've always called Slime Rancher, it is the peaceful game that can turn into chaos real quickly. And you've experienced that. And I think that's part of the attraction to Slime Rancher. If you're looking for a nice little farm sim, Slime Rancher. Like, I'm pretty sure it's on Xbox Game Pass. So is the second one, but the first one's finished. It's complete. I think right now it's on sale. Like this week, it is on sale on Steam for like $5. So if you don't want to get an Xbox, get it on Steam on PC. I don't think you need a powerhouse to run it, even though there's a lot of slimes on screen sometimes.
Oh, it does get, that's true.
But I was gonna then we'll move on to. I was going to say, what have you been playing this week? And I know Northgard is the big one. Yeah, lots of Northgard.
I can't help it. We got the clan of the lion and the clan of the stoat, and I haven't gotten to try those yet. And those are completely different than the Viking clans. Mm-hmm. They are not Viking clans at all, actually, in fact.
What do they call them? Like the Kingdom clan?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So we tried a game last night. Yeah, I played the stoat. You were the lion clan. You have peasants instead of workers. It's intense. It's really different. It actually doesn't feel to me like I'm playing Northgard.
It does feel a little different, yeah.
But it's good. Like, I enjoyed it. It's just learning how to do everything. I'd have to try it a few more times. I think, though, I like the Viking clans better, and we'll always go back to those before these others. Now, since they do have the Clan of the Owl coming out, I don't know what type of clan that is. So
I do not know.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, they played, and it's hard to make a judgment off like, okay, this is my first time trying out a new clan.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing.
That was my first time like completing a game with that clan.
Yeah.
Because my son wanted to play with me, and I was the clan of the lion, and then he started to lose because another team was attacking him, and he shut the game off like 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
So I've not gotten to play. I mean, that's just when you're starting going. You know?
20 minutes in, and it's like, oh, okay, now I'm getting somewhere.
I'm actually doing something.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think
of the it? I thought it was very interesting. I would give it a try again to just try to figure out exactly
now that you know some of it better.
It's just there are a few things I don't like compared to the Viking clans, but I think it's just figuring it out. And unfortunately, my hero did not feel very good.
I think your military is a lot weaker as these clans because you can have so many more different types.
Yeah. I mean, my population was probably bigger than most of my Viking ones get when I play a Viking clan, but it didn't strike quite as well. And I think that's just, you got to play it like a little bit more like the old school RTSs, like where you got to plan, like make sure your archers are defended, make sure you're attacking their range stuff so they're not like pelting you with like you have to micromanage your warriors a lot more.
I think it's more of a defensive build than an offensive build.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like as well.
Because a lot of your like warlords, domain lords can't even leave your territory.
Yeah, the lords, instead of having the sentry towers, like a turret tower that defends your area, you summon a lord's tower, and then just one beefy dude hangs out and fights things, which I think is cool, but it really confuses me. I usually like to use select my entire warband, but it also selects all my lords, but they can't leave their territory. So
it makes it hard to expand when you're trying to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing the Nintendo Switch version has over the computer version. There might be a way to do it that I just don't know. But on the Switch, you can actually create different parties for your military and then direct them.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that on the desktop.
I'll show you.
That would make it easier. Then you don't have to worry about that.
That was literally the thought I had when I finally that blue.
So you knew how to do it the whole time and you didn't tell me?
Because you never
wanted me to lose. You're like, let her select her whole army and mess it all up. It's fine.
Well, I've never needed to
Who
tell
cares
you
that she's getting attacked from 3 different sides?
Let me finish my sentence.
I know, but I'm having fun imagining and pretending.
I didn't use it the whole time, and then at the end, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna need to make."
We weren't on
companies.
A team. This was a plan.
We were fighting. So, you and me were like, we both don't know what we're doing. We ended up next to each other, and I'm like, "You're fine over there. I'm going this way."
I didn't say anything, but I appreciated how you just left me alone, and I was like, "I'm gonna also leave you alone. We'll just work on the other sides of us for now."
We left one little buffer territory, but like between the main ways we could get to each other that was full of draugrs,
and they kept attacking you and not me.
Yeah, I know. oh my god. Goodness. All right. Anything else you were playing you want to talk about? I think you just played the game and the Northgard, didn't you?
Yeah, I really haven't had. I mean, a lot of time. It's the holiday season. It's time to make lots of weird crafts. We put up a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
We're doing all kinds of things. Outside lights you put up for me. Thank you. So we're,
your regular holiday crazy.
Working on vehicles, doing all that fun stuff.
Fun winter stuff. I finished the Spider-Man Remastered, the main storyline. Yep. I was digging into the DLC a little bit, but that's so good. It's a good storyline too. I liked that iteration of Peter and some of the supervillains he faced. It was really good and actually was pretty emotional at the end. I really liked it. Yeah. Which is kind of anybody who's dealt with Spider-Man enough will kind of realize there's always been a very emotional aspect to Spider-Man, because I think it's why people like him so much, because he's living this double life and he does kind of suffer for it. Like you get a lot of other ones like the Fantastic Four. Oh, they're rich and they live in this big tower and like everyone knows who they are. They're not living this double life, right? But you got Spider-Man trying to hide his identity, like to protect his family, and like it makes his life so hard. It's hard for him to get ahead in his regular life because his superhero persona like is hard, and like he struggles with that. And I think people can relate to that struggle, like the emotion side of him just trying to do what's right, and like some things work out and like it becomes better and some things don't. Like you got to make the choices you make, and at the end of the day, do you feel like you did the right thing? You know?
Ooh, it sounds too realistic.
Yeah, that's a lot of Spider-Man is very much like that. But it was great. Very good. Like it literally, it's like, oh man, I actually like, I do want a PS5 eventually, but like that was the first time I'm like, man, and I hear Spider-Man 2 is so good. But there's still the Miles Morales second one, and that one's like not as long, but it's like I'll play that one too. And there's some like DLC missions and extra stuff I can do in the real one. So I'll see how far I want to dig into the DLC before I go to Miles Morales. But like I'm very interested in him in this universe and seeing him become a Spider-Man too. It's so cool.
The Miles Morales one.
Yeah, because he's in this game. You play some missions at him.
Oh, okay.
But you're doing like sneak missions. It's before he has any spider powers.
Yeah.
And something bad happens to him, and Peter kind of helps him through it as Peter. But Spider-Man also saves him a couple times, and during the course of this game, he gets bit by his spider. Okay. And at the very end, like one of the end credit scene is like, hey, Peter, I got to talk to you. Like, you know, I have some changes going on, some things happening. And like Peter thinks he's like talking about puberty or something. He's like a nerdy guy. Oh, it happens. It's normal. He's like, no, I'm just going to show you. And he like jumps up on the ceiling. And like Peter's like, well, that's not as weird as you think. And then he jumps on the ceiling. That's like, of all the people you could talk to, you spoke to the right guy. So
there's always at least one other person out there in the world that's going to be like, that's not that weird. No matter what it is.
And then like, I think I just talked about earlier digging into Remnant 2, and I really haven't gotten far enough to get too much of an opinion, but it's good so far. You know, it's more that goodness. It's a little Dark Soulsies, but more shooting. So in some ways easier.
No, thank you.
Oh, no, you're playing with me now. Yeah, that's it. I think I'm good. Anything else beautiful?
You know what you call a group of hunting horns? This one's really lame.
What do you call a group of hunting horns?
An orchestra. It's not even funny.
Was that the panic? Like, I'm trying to find a joke.
And I couldn't find. I found the same one that I found last time about the pickle juice devil show. That one really was so good.
One. That's a good one.
And that made me laugh. I was like, God, I wish I could say that one again. Thanks, Reddit. Left me high and dry.
Yep. Leaving me high and dry. All right. I want to thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. Please leave a like, a comment, a follow, a subscribe. We're on Spotify, YouTube. I make a bunch of TikTok shorts, and I'm trying to make sure to keep up with that. And just really appreciate you and Brother Ray for our caricatures again. Wonderful, wonderful. And I think we're going to head out before this episode gets any longer. So I'm Matt.
I'm Rose.
And this has been Co-ople Mode. You keep gaming with your bestie. Ta-ta!